Thank you for everyone for joining us this afternoon for our Tisha programming this year. And we are Halachic Left. For those of you who haven't heard of us, we are a grassroots movement of halachically observant Jews advocating for our communities to oppose Jewish supremacy, support ending the Israeli military occupation of Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem, and work for a just and equitable future for Israelis and Palestinians. I will drop more info in the chat about Halachic Left later, but now we're pleased to have with us Rabbi David Polsky, who is going to be giving a shiur entitled, "Would You Like Me to Kill Them All? Torah Overcoming Violence in the Churban Narrative." Rabbi David Polsky is a rabbi and educator living in Southfield, Michigan with his wife and children. A graduate of Yeshiva University Rabbinical School, his main research interest is the intersection between halacha and values. He recently published a halachic argument against the starvation of Gaza. And with that, Rabbi Polsky, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Caroline, and thank you very much for organizing everything. So we're going to be studying at least selections from Gittin 57b. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, have already studied these Gemaras, this whole page on Tisha B'Av's past. But I just wanted to introduce a few, at least some potential new dimensions, certainly in light of the Gaza war and just militarism on the, among religious Zionism and the Israeli government, etc. Okay, so with that, I'll begin. At the top of the page, it says, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Avin, Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha. So he says, in the name of Rabbi Yoshua ben Karcha, Sach li zakein echad me anshe Yerushalayim. So an elder of Jerusalem told me. Also, by the way, again, I'm going to be reading and translating from the text itself, but with each step, I have the Sefaria translation, the Koren, the Rabbi Steinsaltz translation on the right. So feel free to take a look at that while I'm reading through the original text. Anyway, so he says, "Bevika zo harag nevuz radan rav tabachim masayim va'achas esrei ribo." So in this is the valley where Nevuz Radan killed over 200 million people. V'Yisraelim harag tishim va'arba ribo al even achas, and he killed 940,000 people over just one stone. Ad shehalach daman v'naga b'damo shel Zechariah, until it reached Zechariah. So l'kayim mashen amar v'damim b'damim nagu. Okay, so let me just give the background to this. So Zechariah. So this is taking place in the destruction of the first temple, and but 250 years prior to that, there was a Kohen and a prophet named Zechariah. So he had protested. So the king Yoash had tried to was having himself worshipped as a deity, and Zechariah objected to this. And he was murdered, and so this is this rock is where Zechariah was killed, and his blood is flowing, so the story proceeds from there, and then Nevuz Radan is like the army, I guess Steinschultz translates as the captain of the guard, or you could translate it as the chief butcher, but either way. He sees this blood of Zechariah. So the verse says, "V'damim b'damim nagu." It's the original context of the verse in Hosea is that blood, that there's so many people who are murdered that one person's blood touches another. But in this context, we're going to see that blood of people who are slaughtered as sort of like revenge for Zechariah end up touching Zechariah's blood, and so we're going to see that. So Nevuz Radan, so again, the chief butcher, or the chief of guard. So Ashkecheli Dmei de Zachariah, Dehavaka Mirsach V'Saleg. So Zachariah sees the blood of Zachariah that is bubbling, and so like, what is this blood bubbling? So Amari says, "My hi, what's going on here?" Amarule. So they said to him, "Dam zvachim de ish tefuch." No, that's blood of the sacrifices. So in other words, because they don't want the people in the temple, they don't want to admit or to reveal what exactly is going on here. So Nevuz Radan, so he goes and checks. So I see Demei v'la idmo. So according to the story, so he goes and slaughters some, let's say, some goats and bulls, etc., compares the blood, and hey, the blood doesn't look exactly the same. I forgot to check to what degree this is scientifically true. That I think I saw something that said that it is, that human blood does look a little bit different. But either way, clearly he's able to compare them and see that it's clearly not animal blood and most likely human blood. So Amr Lahu, so he says to the people there, I amrisu li mutav. Okay, so if you tell me whose blood that is, so good. Vilav misarekna levisraichu b'masrake deparzale. I'm going to, if you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to comb your flesh with iron combs. Now, this is a little bit of an anachronism because this is like a Roman punishment, and this is being depicted as taking place in Babylonian times. But again, this is the rabbinic narrative. Amrile. So they say to him, "My name Alach, what are we supposed to say to you? Nevia Hava." Ban Dahava Kamochachlan B'mile Dishmaya. So there was a prophet, and he was rebuking us about heavenly matters. Kaminan ilave uktlinan le. So we went and killed him. Veha kama shanin delaka nayach demei. And even after so many years, his blood has not rested. Okay, so then, so they reveal that this is the blood of Zachariah. So Amar Lahu, so he says to them, Ana mefayes nale. I'm going to go and satisfy his blood. So many of you are familiar with this, but I'm sure many of you could see at least some of the parallels to, let's say, the Gaza war. You could probably just picture one of the victims of 10/7 like bubbling up, and then you have someone going to say, well, an Israeli soldier, etc., coming to say, oh, I'm going to satisfy this blood. So Amr Lahu Ana Mefayes Nale. I'm going to satisfy. Now, so another point that we should, it's very clear, is Nevuz Radan clearly doesn't necessarily care. I don't know. Well, at least it's unlikely that he is really necessarily personally offended that Zachariah was murdered. But this is clearly on his part an excuse to kill many Jews in order to, quote unquote, satisfy and pacify his blood. So I see Sanhedri Gedola v'Sanhedri Katana Katali Lave. So he takes the great Sanhedrin and the small Sanhedrin, and he kills them. V'lo nach. And still, the blood of Zachariah, after those many killings, still is not stopped bubbling. So Bachurim Uvsulos Katali Lave. So he comes young men, young women. He kills them right over Zachariah's blood. V'lanach. It still doesn't still doesn't stop bubbling. Then he goes even further. I see Tinoko Shobes Rabban Kitali Lave. He goes ahead and he takes young children who are studying in school, and he goes and kills them over this blood. Still Vilonach. Still, Zechariah's blood is still bubbling. So Nevuzradan clearly at this point he's very, very, very used to killing, but this degree of killing over like so many people just over this one person's blood, he's just even he can't take it at this point. So Amrle. So then he says, Zechariah, tovim shebahen ibadtim. I killed the best of them. Nicha lach de'ovidnu lekulhu. Do you want me to kill them all? Kida amrle hachi nach. And then, only when he said that, only then did the blood stop. So I think that this is a very, very, very powerful image. Certainly, just with regard to the Gaza war, I don't want to get into the G word right now, but certainly this idea of at a certain point, how much like quote unquote revenge killing, quote unquote, is to whatever degree any sort of revenge killing is acceptable. When does it become too much? Nevuzradan says, do you really want me to kill all of them out of revenge? And that's when you could just that's when you could imagine the blood stops. So again, you could easily just put this image in the context of the Gaza war, and just this image to say, okay, do you really want me to kill all of them? And at this point, Nevuzradan, he was so used to killing from so many other wars. At a certain point, he just can't take it. I'll take any comments or questions in a moment, but I just want to get to this, at least semi-conclusion of this story. But he shaita har tshuva bedaite. So he has thoughts of repentance. So Amar, so he says to himself, Uma im al nefesh achas kach, if on this one soul, this one soul was murdered, and so many people were killed and revenged. Hahu Gavra, this man, in other words, he's referring to himself, Diktal Kohane Nishmasa, who killed all these many people. Al Achas Kama V'Kama, certainly so much more. So Arak, he ran away. Azal, he went, Shadar Shatar Pirtasa Bevese V'Igayer. So he sent a directive to his household about instructing about financial matters, etc. And then he converted. And so what I just think it's very, very powerful that there's just so much violence that he just can't take it anymore. This degree of killing, of revenge, etc., and even he can't take it anymore. And so I think it's I'm still trying to work through, like, think about, like, okay, what exactly is this kal v'chomer, this inference? Now, on one level, he's to quote unquote afraid of punishment. I mean, that's to some degree a simple understanding that that all this death caused so many punishment, and certainly God is going to punish me, etc. And out of fear he converts. I mean, that's certainly one level, but I think that there's some degree of saying I think it's possible to read it as wanting to do away with this cycle of violence, that at a certain point revenge has to stop, And the only thing he could, and that is the best way for him to express that he's regretted it, and that the cycle of killing should stop. So let me see. Now I think I could probably take some questions. Caroline, let me see. Let me see if I can find the.
Yeah, people should be able to unmute themselves or
Okay.
drop it in the chat if you prefer.
Okay. So I see a question from Alexander. Can you please recall why the Talmud tells the story in Gittin? It's referred to. Is it referred to elsewhere in rabbinic literature? If I remember correctly, yes, it is found in Sanhedrin. So in terms of, well, in Gittin in general, okay, so there is. I mean, how we got into the whole thing about this whole series of destructive narratives. So this whole page is part of a continuation of, let's say, the Bar Kamsa and Bar Kamsa story, and also a continuation about the Roman siege of Jerusalem. By the way, actually, I should have mentioned earlier, I don't have time to get the link right now, but actually about 2 years ago, I gave a shiur for Halachic Left about the Roman siege of Jerusalem and comparing it to the plight of Gazan civilians in the Gaza war. I guess I should before I finish, I'll try to get the link. But this Gemara is a continuation of this whole series of narratives. Now, this is in the context of after the first temple. But it's all once we're talking about the destruction of the temple, it's the rabbis are putting it together. Now, I don't know if Alexander, if your question was about what is this doing in Tractate Gittin at all. So the whole series started from there was a Mishnah having to deal with taking over land of legionnaires, I think, taking over land. And that I think led to the whole context of the Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. I don't know if that answers your question, but I hope it does. Any other comments or thoughts? Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, okay. All right. So I want to go on. Okay. So next, the Gemara continues with regard to other previous enemies of the Jewish people, and not necessarily them converting, but also their descendants. I'll just take a. Actually, no. Before I go on, okay, I see another comment from Didi. Is implication if the implication is that Zechariah would not have wanted collective punishment or violence to avenge his death? Why wouldn't his blood have stopped bubbling after the first round of killings? So I mean, so it's possible that Zechariah. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it's possible that, let's say, Zechariah might, but I think I'm talking about, let's say, from the perspective of Nebuzaradan. I don't know if that answers your question. But I think Nebuzaradan realizes that this is really, really excessive. So I mean, whether or not Zechariah himself wants it, I mean, certainly from the perspective of the narrative, I think the narrative of the Gemara certainly wants to describe this whole series of killings and an idea of revenge. I mean, so it certainly is it possible that Zechariah himself wanted this degree of revenge? I think it's certainly possible, but at a certain point, Nebuzaradan realizes that this is enough. Okay. Zechariah. So MS says there's no suggestion that Zechariah wants any killing at all. Yeah, I mean, you could possibly read it that way, that it's the blood itself. I mean, I think that's a very good point also. And if revenge killings could have avenged Zechariah's death, why wouldn't they have done so before Nebuzaradan tired of it? I'm just trying to make sure I understand. If revenge killings could have avenged Zechariah's death, wouldn't they have done so? Oh, well, I mean, certainly, certainly possible. I don't, trying to, I mean, there is, by the way, I should mention that, that there's one, I forgot which commentary it was, and after this, I want to move on. But there was one commentary that says that why was Nebuzaradan so afraid of punishment? In terms of, like, let's say this Kal V'chomer, that actually he realizes after a certain point he should have raised this question to Zechariah earlier, and for that reason he thinks of himself as guilty. So I think that there's to some degree that Nebuzaradan's question itself seems to prompt it. Let me just see. Righteous people to desire over the top. Example teaches us that, I see Daniel comments, an example teaches us that we need to reject that urge exactly because of the cyclic nature of violence. Yeah, so I definitely agree with your point that, yes, in terms of that even if it is sort of expected, that yes, that's part of my point to say about the rejecting this cycle of violence, and that's the idea of him converting. But this is also where I wanted to lead into about the role of Torah, and this hence the subtitle of my shiur. So afterwards, so it connects it with regard to other quote unquote former enemies of the Jewish people. It says, "Mi bnei vanav shel Haman limdu Torah bivnei Brak," that among the descendants of Haman taught Torah in bnei Brak. Mi bnei vanav shel Sisra limdu tinokos b'Yerushalayim. The among the descendants of Sisra, the Assyrian general, etc. So also taught children in Jerusalem. Mi bnei vanav shel Sancheriv limdu Torah barabim. Actually, no. Sisra was, I think, Aram, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so limdu Torah b'Yerushalayim, b'nei vanav shel Sancheriv limdu Torah barabim, and descendants of Sancheriv, the Assyrian general. So they taught Torah in public. And Man Enon, who were they? Shemaiah v'Avtalion. Shemaiah and Avtalion were the teachers of Hillel the elder, the great Hillel, and so they were converts and descendants of Sancheriv. So this is where what I wanted to emphasize in terms of the role of Torah and violence. Now, I to some degree admit that really to make my argument clear, really the Gemara should have said that Nebuzaradan also had something to do with Torah study and not just converting. But still, I think that the link to this is coming to say that the role of Torah in rejecting this cycle of violence, that we have the series of revenge, etc., and that the real true resolution of the cycle of violence and revenge, etc., the true resolution of that is Torah. And I think that also I think that what's going on here is the role of Torah as a corrective to this level of violence. And in addition to that, so I think that with regard to, let's say, the image of Haman, etc., these enemies of the Jewish people, I think also what this midrash, what this Gemara is teaching us is that the true way to defeat Haman and Amalek, etc., is not by theoretically like killing them all, etc., but rather it's that this image of Haman's descendants teaching Torah, that is the true victory, expresses the true victory over Amalek and Haman. And so I think that we have this role of Torah as a corrective and to some degree a resolution to this cycle of violence. Let me see. Oh, I think there was a comment. I'll take a look at that before. Thank you very much. In terms of Gerim as well, thank you very much. So I think that so what I wanted to do is show this idea of the relationship of Torah and violence in some other the other parts of this page of Gemara. Now, first, also just with regard to the role of violence, etc. So I wanted to take a look at the next stage, which is a play based on the verse Hakol Kol Yaakov ve'Hayadayim Midei Esav. That this is in the context of Jacob dressing up as Esav, as Esau, to try to convince Isaac that he's Esav, and to try to steal the blessings, etc. And so Isaac, Yitzchak feels Yaakov to make sure, is this really Esav? And so Yitzchak ends up saying, Hakol Kol Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, v'Hayadayim Yidei Esav, but the hands are the hands of Esav. And so this next series is a play on this dichotomy of Yaakov representing prayer and Esav representing violence. So the next part is Hakol Kol Yaakov v'Hayadayim Yidei Esav. Hakol zeh Adrianus Caesar. This is Hadrian Shaharag Alexandria Shal Mitzrayim Shishim Ribo al Shishim Ribo Kiflaim Kiyotze Mitzrayim. So he killed, 1,200,000, etc., which is twice the number of people left Egypt. So what's going on is Hakol Kol Yaakov. So what's going on here is the voice. It's the voice of Yaakov. It's the voice of Yaakov screaming in pain from crying out from this murder. So in other words, that it's Hadrian who prompts this call of Yaakov by murdering so many Jews. And then similarly, Kol Yaakov, the voice of Yaakov in pain and prayer, is also manifested through Zeh Aspasianos Caesar, Shaharg Bechrach Beitar Arba Meos Ribo, that who killed 4 million people. V'amrila Arbas, they killed 4 million people, and then V'amrila Arbas Alafim Ribo. Some people say 40 million, etc. So we have again this dichotomy between Esav and Yaakov, and then similarly, v'Hayadayim Yidei Esav. These are the hands of Esav. Zo Malchus Harasha'ah Shehechariva Espatenu V'Sarfa Es Hechalenu V'Higlasanu Me Artzenu. That Esav is represented in the kingdom of Rome. In other words, in the rabbinic, in the midrashic imagination, Rome is a descendant of Edom, which is a descendant of Esav, and so the kingdom of Rome, they're also the hands of Esav. So I think also wanted to touch on one other angle in a moment. So again, a continuation of this idea, davar acher. So another alternative but similar parallel idea with regard to this dichotomy, Hakol Kol Yaakov. The voice is the voice of Yaakov. Ein lecha tefila shemo eles. There's no prayer that helps. She'ein ba mizaro shel Yaakov. That is not literal. Well, I'm going to translate it literally for now, but that's not from the seed of Yaakov. V'Hayadayim Yidei Esav, and the hands are the hands of Esav. Ein lecha milchama shenotzachas she'ein ba mizaro shel Esav. There's no successful war that does not come from the seed of Esav. Now, Now, first, I should just mention that, and this is going to lead to my larger point, that that some commentaries take this literally, that any prayer has to be by a literal descendant of Jacob, and successful war has to be from a literal descendant of Esav. So I personally not into those literal explanations. So the Maharal of Prague, so he sees this idea of Zaro as idea of representative of force. In other words, that prayer is taken from the essence of Jacob. The Maharal identifies Yaakov with the sense of compassion. That prayer is connected to the idea of compassion. And so successful prayer has this element of compassion in it, which is represented by Jacob, and by contrast, that the idea of war that Esav is represented by war, or that war is basically an essential characteristic of Esav, and so therefore any successful war has this element of Esav in it. Now, so before I take any comments or questions, so I did want to point out just the idea of Jewish values and violence. So I'm trying to remember exactly where I saw it. I believe it was in an article by Rabbi Zach Truboff, but someone hopefully correct me if it was elsewhere, that there was an Israeli general that recently said that you should live by the sword, and this was actually Yitzchak's blessing to Esav. In other words, this is a description of Esav, not really what Jews should be doing. And so this idea of embracing militarism is basically embracing Esav, and I think that's what this text is hinting at. That to whatever degree war is necessary, it's still taking an aspect of Esav in it, and bringing it out, as opposed to Yaakov, which is supposed to be connected more with prayer. So with that, I'll just take a look at some of your comments. Whoops, let me see. Just see. Learn. Oh, yeah, I see. Andrea comments, should we also consider our vengeance fulfilled if descendants of our enemies learn Hebrew by this logic? Oh, well, I mean, well, personally, I see, Torah as being beyond Hebrew, etc. And I think that's also like the value of Torah, not necessarily Hebrew specifically. And it seems like some of these bad guys, conversion moment, including those, they come from different nations who are also similar in their violent cultures. Okay. So what happens with violent Jews? Where should they go? Well, certainly, to whatever degree, wherever they should go.
Answer
I'm sorry?
when I'm sleepy and just looking and watching something.
I'm sorry?
You click your mic.
Oh, wait, someone have a comment? Oh, well, anyway, but still, I think the idea is that they're still representing violence. So I see MS mentions, did anyone tell Bar Kochva this? So again, to whatever degree, I'm not going to take a position right now with regard to war in general, but I think that part of it is hinting at that even to whatever degree war is necessary, it still has this moral hazard of bringing out an element of Esav to it. The point of Torah is the true response. It also supports the stories about the maneuver of. I'm just reading Alexander comments. The point of Torah is true. We also support the stories about Palestinians today who learn Hebrew. Refer to those as a few good ones. Contrary to others, shouldn't there be an element of respecting individual and collective identity in promoting the ways of Torah? I'm sorry if my fasting brain is getting the better of me. I don't totally understand the question. Can you explain the first one on Kol Yaakov more? How that phrase could be used to refer to. Oh, okay. So let me just. So I'm sorry if it wasn't clear before. So the Kol Yaakov is the voice of prayer, and that the Roman generals. That by killing all these Jews are generating the cries of Yaakov in agony. I just want to take a look at a few more comments because, but again, I want to be able to finish in time. Hopefully, descendants of the Jews. Yeah. So certainly, yes. Okay. All right. So I just want to be able to move on to the next stage. So again, I think we have this this contrast between Torah and violence, and that's why I wanted to bring this Gemara, this aspect of 57b, because I think this also goes together with the previous story about the relationship of Torah and violence and the cycle of violence. Okay, so there's two stories I'm just going to hint at because what I want to do is really just get at what the Gemara is leading to. So the next part is Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel V'Tema Rabbi Ami V'Amri La B'Masnisa Tana. Okay, some say it was taught in a brisa. So Maisa Ba'arba Meos Yiladim Vilados, etc. So basically, the next part of this Gemara is leading up to a story about 400 boys and girls, Jewish boys and girls. They're taken by the Romans, and they're on a ship, and they realize that they're going to be eventually, when they get to Rome, they're going to be sold into prostitution. And basically, to make a long story short, they all decide to jump into the sea. Rather than undergo that. So what I wanted to get to by just mentioning that offhand is the conclusion of the story, where it says Afheim kafzu l'sochayam. So then all of them jumped into the sea. But this is what I wanted to emphasize. Va'aleihem hakasav omer. But on them, the verse says, Ki alecha horagnu kol hayom nechshavnu kitzon tivcha. This is a verse from Tehillim, from Psalms. Is for you, in other words, for your sake, in other words, for God's sake, that we are killed all day long or every day. Nechshavnu kitzon tivcha. That we're like lambs to the slaughter, to sheep to the slaughter. So I wanted to emphasize because it's this pasuk that is that serves to conclude that story. Now, so what I wanted to get at is to lead that this same pasuk is a lead-in to a following story, and which again we're not going to look inside, but again I certainly encourage all of you to take a look at it yourselves. It says Rabbi Yehuda Amar. Rabbi Yehuda says Zo. In other words, this verse is talking about Isha v'shiva vaneha. It's talking about a woman and her 7 sons. So this is about. We're not going to look at it inside, but this is about the Roman emperor that he tries to get 7 sons of this woman to worship idols, and so the first son refuses, and he's murdered. Then the next son, he says, "Will you worship idols?" And say no, and gives a verse in the Torah, and then he finally leads up to the very last son, and tries that the emperor that tries to save face by saying, okay, how about just I'll throw my ring out and just pretend to pick it up, and that way at least I won't be caught killing every single son of this woman. So then even this son refuses and says, a foolish emperor, etc., and he's killed. And so the point is that this verse is that ki alecha horagnu kol hayom, that this verse is being applied to these seven sons. Now, but the reason I wanted to bring that up is that this verse afterwards is used differently. So this is what I wanted to lead into with regard to, again, the idea of the relationship of Torah and violence. So Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi Amar, so then he says, Zo Mila, that this verse in Psalms, we're understanding it with Zo Mila, Shenitna Bashmini. That this verse about we're killed all day long, etc., that's actually not talking about circumcision. So why is it talking about circumcision? Obviously, there's blood, etc. I mean, there's one explanation. Not really. I don't know if I necessarily buy. Well, then at least in the context of modern medicine, etc. But there's one commentary who says that it's actually that circumcision is very, very dangerous. And it's only by through Hashem's miracle that the babies survive. I don't know about that, but certainly there's this element of blood, etc. And so therefore, this verse is being applied to Mila. But then there's two contexts in which this verse is being applied to more specifically Torah contexts. So Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar, this verse is talking about Elu Talmidei Chachamim Shemarin Hilchos Shchita Be'atzman. That this verse about we're killed every day. It's talking about scholars who show the laws of shchita on themselves. Daf Yomi is in the middle of Tractate Chulin, which deals with slaughter. But basically, you could imagine that this obviously not going to literally demonstrate using the knife, but basically where it says for your sake, for you Hashem's sake, we're killed every day. It's talking about like demonstrations of shchita, that about where the knife would go, etc., and trephos, etc. And that's what this verse is talking about. And then finally, we have this continuation of this idea that Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar, that Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says that this verse could be applied to the following about we're killed every day. It's talking about this. Elu Talmidei Chachamim. These are the scholars shememisin atzman al divrei Torah, that they kill themselves as it were over Torah. Certainly not literally. We have this idea about saving lives, etc. But in a certain sense, they're putting all of their lives, their efforts into studying Torah, and this is and so that's why they're quote unquote killing themselves over studying Torah, and that the verse is talking about that. And this is Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. This is similar to an idea expressed by Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, to Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, because he says, Ein divrei Torah miskaimin ela b'misha meimis atzmo alehem. That Torah could really only be really fulfilled. In other words, to really being studied, ela b'misha meimis atzmo alehem. Only for some who quote unquote kills themselves over it. And Shnamar, and the proof text is Zos HaTorah Adam Ki Yamos Be'ohel V'Gomer. This is the Torah. I'm going to explain what the proof text in a moment. This is the Torah that a person dies in a tent. Okay, so the background, the usage of this proof text is as follows. Okay, so the context is with regard to purity and impurity, tuma and tara, and death, and this is found in the passage with regard to the paraduma, the red heifer. That's used to purify those who develop impurity from coming into contact with the dead body, and so one of the rules of tuma with regard to a dead body is that if there is a dead body in a tent or any sort of covering, and then like any object or even person goes under that tent, just the same tent that has this dead body, so that person or object becomes impure as well, just by being under the same tent as this dead body. So that's the original context of this verse. Zos HaTorah. This is basically the law. Adam ki yamas ba'ohel. That if a person dies in a tent, etc. But the midrashic reading of this is as follows: that the tent, lots of times in the rabbinic imagination, is being understood as the tent of Torah. For example, Yaakov Ishtam Yoshevo Alim, that Jacob dealt under the tents. So that's where the idea comes that it's the tent of Torah in the study hall. So therefore, Zos HaTorah Adam ki yamas ba'ohel is therefore being used to say that this is the idea of studying Torah, that a person is killing themselves, as it were, in the tent of Torah. Okay, so, but this is what I wanted to do with this continuation in terms of, again, the relationship between Torah and violence. That we have this verse of ki lecha haragnu ko hayom, etc. That for you were killed, is this verse in Tehillim. So first, it's being applied to martyrdom, and so obviously that's applicable there. But I think what the conclusion of the sugya is saying as follows: that rather than being just a culture of martyrdom about saying that we're all about emphasizing let's say a quote unquote a cult of the dead, of those who are killed, and to emphasize that as the core of who we are. That ideally we don't want that. We don't want to just think of ourselves just as martyrs, or to only look to martyrdom, etc. That rather, this is what we want to do with this verse. What we want to do with this verse is to say that this is what we want to lead to. We want ki alecha haragnu ko hayom. We want to be killed not as martyrs, etc., to a specific cause, but rather we want to be quote unquote killing ourselves over Torah, and that I think is the true ideal that this sugya is leading towards. That in terms of the relationship between Torah and violence, so I just want to summarize that again, that before we started with Nevuz Radan and this cycle of violence and revenge. And Nevuz Radan ends the cycle of violence and revenge. He converts, but then I believe it leads up to this idea of Torah, that Torah is supposed to be the true corrective of violence, and also the idea that Torah symbolizes the true conquering of any sort of quote unquote enemies, and that therefore it's Torah study. That is what is supposed to end the cycle of violence, but also really expresses the true finality and the true victory over violence. And then we discuss this idea about violence and war being really just an expression of Esav, of Esau. That to whatever degree any sort of war is necessary, it still has this danger of having Esav seep into it, as opposed to Yaakov, that's supposed to be all about prayer. And then finally, we're talking about the verse about Nechshavnu Ki Alecha Ragnu Ko Hayom. For this, we're killed every day. So that at this verse we have it in the context of the 400 boys and girls and the 7 sons who are martyred themselves, but ultimately we don't want we don't want the sense of violence. We don't want to only look forward to martyrdom. We don't necessarily only want to look forward to this sense of victimhood. Rather, we want to be able to apply this verse rather to Torah study, and how we want to be killing ourselves is over Torah and learning a sugya, learning olos, etc. All the laws actually with regard to impurity of the tent, etc. And to be learning, and that is the true conclusion of where we want to be with regard to this cycle of violence. I want to be able to lead a few minutes of break time, but Caroline, do you think tell me when I should stop taking the comments? We'll just stop.
I think we have a couple more minutes. If you're able, I'm not able for whatever reason to erase the lines on the screen.
Well, we're done studying the text, so
yeah. No, now that you've scrolled, I think they're yeah.
But
we have a couple more minutes. It's 24, so.
Oh, okay. But let me try to take a look at.
Yeah, we can maybe try to end around like 27.
Yeah. That's what I want to be able
to
leave some time. So, let me see. So, any comments? Screenshots. Oh wait, hold on a second. Metaphorically. Metaphorically, I mean, devoting themselves to a life of Torah is, Torah over violent impulses, and that's exactly what I wanted to do with that. Let me see. Wait, was there any other comments I didn't get to? Also, before I forget, let me say, do you see another comment? I wanted to be able to link to my Tisha B'Av article. But let me not able to do it with the screen share. Could someone, if someone is able to,
you can maybe just stop sharing.
Okay. I'll stop sharing and I'll find the article. I'll put it in the context. So this was similar to a share I gave 2 years ago. About for Halachic Left, but it's an article version. So I'm sure a good portion of you have read it already, but I just also wanted to provide the link to whoever hasn't seen it. So I just put that link in the comments. Let me see. Was there any? Caroline, was there any comments I didn't address?
I don't.
Oh, sure. And thank you very, very much for also, before I forget, thank you very, very much for taking part. And again, I encourage you to read this article, and to all of you, all of you who are fasting. So I hope you have an easy but meaningful fast. And obviously, I want to encourage you, obviously, to stay on for Rabbi Boatsum. That's how we pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a pronunciation. Okay, to stay on for Rabbi Boatsum Shir and for the movie. So thank you very, very much for taking part, and again, have a easy but meaningful fast.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rabbi Polsky.